Okay, so yes, good morning, students. So now we will start our today's lesson. And this lesson is the continuation of the chapter Combustion and Flames. So let's recall what we studied in our earlier class. We studied about ignition temperature and the factors affecting the ignition temperature, the different factors. So these were the things that we discussed in our previous class. And one more topic we discussed, that was inflammable substances, right? So now this was all the recalling part of our earlier class. So now there is a question. You all must have seen fire at someone's home or nearby your areas. You all must have heard some news articles also related to fire, like there was a great fire at some theater, at someone's house. Yes. So what we do, for very first thing that we do when we see a fire around us, a big fire, what we usually do, right? You can give the answer with the help of these pictures. Okay. So so some of you are saying that we call a fire brigade. Yes, very good. And what else? Yes, we inform the authorities. We inform the older people of our houses so that they can help if it is possible. So yes, the main thing that we do is we call the fire brigades. And what function do these fire brigades they play? Like what they do for the fire to stop? Okay, in this photo we can see that they are putting some water, like a pipe. They have a pipe or a machine that is fixed in it, and it is sending some water with a high pressure, right? And yes, here also we can see that they are sending water which extinguishes this fire. Okay, so yes, very good. So yes, you all explained it well. Okay, so now we will see some more details and some more questions for you. It some are very easy questions, right? So yes, so my first question is, how do we control fire? Like as you saw in the pictures, what were they doing? You can based on that you can answer. What are the three essential conditions for? First, you have to mention the three essential conditions that are required for combustion, as we discussed in our previous classes. What were the three conditions? You can write in the chat box or you can speak also. Okay, so I will give you 5 seconds to write your answers in the chat box, then we will discuss. Okay. Okay, yes, I can see the right responses. Okay. So yes, the three essential conditions for combustion are: first, there should be inflammable substance around it. Okay, there should be combustible substance around it. Then there is the presence of oxygen, and third was the ignition temperature, right? So these three were the three essential conditions for combustion, right? So yes, you all answered it correctly. This means that you were listening in the earlier classes. Good to know, right? So now we will move on ahead and we will see some more details about how do we control fire, right? So these were the three essential conditions required for combustion. But what are the measures that we should take to control this fire now? This is going to be our today's first topic, right? So let's move on and see. You can first write the keywords of like how we will control the fire in the chat box, and then we will discuss like what are the different factors. Okay, supplying the we can cut off the supply of oxygen. Yes, very good. And yes, you all are answering it correctly. And yes, water, like the fire brigade was using water to control fire. Yes, very good. Okay, and we also saw in the previous class an example where we wrapped a blanket around a person who was burning so that we can control the fire or extinguish it, right? Yes, very good. Yes, so now we will read in detail, right? So, like how do we control fire? So, if any one of these requirement is removed, the supply is cut off, the fire will stop. So what are the three different, like the requirements that we need to remove? First is the supply is to be cut off. So the fire will stop. Supply of what? Oxygen we can say, right? Okay. Then on spreading water, water cools the combustible material so that its ignition temperature is what below its ignition temperature, right? So this was one of the other method to control fire. What we do is we spread water across the combustible material so that its temperature lowers down. It lowers down that much. If its temperature will lower down, its ignition temperature will also begin to lower down. So this will stop the fire from spreading more, right? This was the second measure through which we can control the fire. Okay, so now we will be discussing some more factors, and the last factor here is so the last factor that helps in controlling of fire is the water vapors. So how is this helping? Like water vapors also surround the combustible material, helping in cutting off the supply of air. So the fire is extinguished. So these are the three. These were some of the factors that helps us to control fire. So now are you clear with the concept, like how these factors they are contributing in controlling of the fire? Okay, yes, I can see the responses. Yes, you are clear. So now we will move on ahead and see some more details, right? Okay, before that we have a curiosity question again. So now Bhujo have a question for you. That is, what does a fire extinguisher do? You must have seen this fire extinguisher everywhere around you. In your schools, in your vehicles also, in your cars also it is present. In petrol pumps, at your home you also must have this. At your home also some people are having this. So why do you think we have fire extinguisher or what they do? You have to share your answers in the chat box. I will give you 10 seconds. Then we will discuss like why we have this fire extinguisher. Till then, you can write your answers in the chat box. Then we will discuss it. After 10 seconds, we will discuss it. Okay. Yes, I can see the right responses. Okay. Yes, very good. Okay. So yes, so now I think we should discuss it, right? So yes, so fire extinguisher, what it does is, first of all, tell me, like, where have you seen this fire extinguisher? In which places? Like in petrol pumps, you must have seen it. Yes, in petrol pumps, you have seen it. In schools, also, it is present. Yes. In big institutions, like in hospitals, also, it is present. Yes, it is present. So, what this does is it extinguishes fire, right? There's some white smoke coming out of it, and if you put that white smoke on fire, the fire it extinguishes. So, this is the main function that is performed by a fire extinguisher. We will see it in more details later. So this was the question all about. Moving on to our next question. Water vapors surround the combustible material, helping in cutting off the supply of what? Combustible substances, oxygen, or ignition temperature. So now you have to write your answers in the chat box and then we will move forward. So for that, I will give you 5 seconds to write your answers and then we will move ahead. Okay. Yes, I can see the right responses. Yes, very good. Okay, it is the correct answer is oxygen, right? So yes, you all are right. So now we will move on ahead and see some more questions and more activities. So yes, moving on to our next slide. What you can observe in these slides. First, you have to tell the objects that you can observe, and then I will ask a question based on these objects. Okay, in the first picture, yes, you all are answering it correctly. We can see a paper is burning, and in second, a wood is burning. So, if both of these things are burning, how will you extinguish this fire? Okay, we can extinguish it by putting water into it. Yes, your response is right. We can extinguish this fire by putting some water in it, and it will extinguish it, right? Okay, so now we will move on to second pictures and you have to first observe it and then tell me how we will extinguish the fire in these two things. Yes. Okay, I can see the responses. Like, yes, there is, these are the electrical appliances, electrical wires. They have caught on fire. So will you still use water to extinguish the fire? Okay, no, you all are saying no. Yes. Okay, and why? Why will you not use water? Okay, because it will be more disastrous. Yes, very good. It will be more. You will get a shock. Yes, you will get a shock. You put water in it, the appliances will be damaged. We will not be able to use those appliances anymore. Even though if they are burning like this, I don't think we will be able to use it. But still, they will get more damaged. Okay. So yes. So now, how will you extinguish the fire in these two cases? Now, what will you use? You saw the picture earlier. Yes, very good. So now we will be using a fire extinguisher for such fires where we cannot use water. Okay. So now I think you are a little bit getting the concept of what we are about to study. Same goes with these pictures. Like, this is a petrol pump. Here also, what do you think we will use for extinguishing this fire? The fire extinguisher. And same goes with the oil, the fire caused by the oil spillage. What we will use? The same thing, the fire extinguisher. Yes, very good. Okay, so now we will move on ahead. So in some cases, you saw we are using water to extinguish a fire, and in some case, you saw we are using this fire extinguisher, right? So both of these are used for extinguishing the fire. But why we are using fire extinguisher in some cases and water in some cases? Why not we are using water in every case? You have to now answer it. First, we will see a small activity here, and then based on this activity, you will answer this question, right? So, okay. So now in this glass, what can you see? You can write your answers in the chat box. Okay. In this glass, you can see this yellow color layer is oil. Yes, very good. It is oil. Okay. And what about the below layer? It is, yes, it is water. So what happens? Do they mix oil and water? No, they do not mix, right? Okay. So oil is always on the top of water. So if, as you all know, that oil catches fire very easily. So if oil is burning and we put water into it for extinguishing the fire, so now can you think like why the water will not work to extinguish the fire in the oil? Yes, here with the example, yes, you can read this part also. With this part, you can get your answer. Because water being light, it sinks down. As in this picture, you can see water is present below in this glass. And the oil keeps burning on the top. Because oil is present in the top, it will keep burning. So this way the fire will not extinguish, even if we put water into it. So this is one of the main reason why we should not use water in case of fires caused by the oils, because it will not extinguish the fire. Okay, so now are you all clear with the concept? So yes, you can write in the chat box. Are you all clear? Okay, so now I think you all are clear. So we will move on ahead and see some more good facts about today's topic. So now we will see some more details about the fire extinguisher, right? So for fire extinguisher, for fires involving electrical equipments, like you saw the electrical wires that were burning and the press that was burning and the inflammable materials. Inflammable materials here are like the oil, the petrol, right? And carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher. Why? Because the oils, they will float uh, above the water and the fire will not be extinguished. In case of electrical appliances, you may get shock by losing the water. So that's why we are using carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher for such cases, right? Okay, so what happens is CO2 being heavier than oxygen covers the fire like a blanket. It covers the fire like a blanket. so that the fire does not go out of control. It will be first controlled and then it will extinguish. Totally, it will extinguish. Since the contact between the fuel and the oxygen is cut off, the fire is controlled, right? And the added advantages of CO2 is that in most cases, it does not harm the electrical equipment. So it is also not harming the electrical equipment. One of the advantages that of CO2. Whereas if you use water, it will damage the electrical appliances properly. But if you use CO2, it will not damage the appliances and it will also extinguish the fire. So now you are clear with the concept, like why in some cases we are using fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Yes, I can see the responses. If you have any doubt, you can ask right now. I will give you 5 seconds or 10 seconds to write your questions or your doubts in the chat box. We will wait and then we will move forward. Okay. Okay, so now I think there is no doubt. If there is, please let me know. We will discuss it in the class. Okay, so now we will move on ahead and we will see one curiosity question by Bujo, right? Bujo asks very good questions. So first question is, how do we get supply of carbon dioxide in fire extinguishers? Oh, now this is something to think about. We know that fire, like carbon dioxide is used for extinguishing the fire, but where we are getting this from? Supply of carbon dioxide. Okay, okay, I will give you some time to think. I will give you 5 seconds. You can, till then, you can, if you are getting any answers, you can write in the chat box. And then we may have a discussion on it. Small discussion, 1 minute or 30 seconds discussion. Okay, yes. Okay, some are saying we get it from the factories. Okay, yes. Okay, some are saying we get it from the labs. Okay, yes, we get it from the labs, the factories. And there are these factories, they make this fire extinguisher. Yes. Okay, so for this question, what you have to do is you have to find it on internet. Like from where we are getting the supply of carbon dioxide, right? Okay, so now we will move on ahead and see some more details. So yes, so now we will see another question. The question is, which gas covers the fire like a blanket? Oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, or nitrogen? I will give you 5 seconds to write your answers in the chat box and then I will announce the right answer. Okay, oxygen cannot be, I think. Why it cannot be? Because it is elevating the fire. Yes, okay. Yes, I can see the correct responses. Yes, you all answered it correctly. The correct answer here is carbon dioxide. It covers the fire like a blanket and doesn't allow it to spread. That's why it is used in fire extinguishers. So now we will move on ahead and see some more details, right? So now first, going on to our next topic, we will see some question like, okay, so first, what do you see in the picture in front of you? It is the gas that we use at home. So what we will do is, we will do it. If we put like a matchstick in front, if we are starting the fire of the gas with a matchstick, right? And will it start suddenly, rapidly, or it will slowly fire the cooking gas? It will rapidly take on the fire. Yes, very good. Or what if we try to burn the wood with the same matchstick? Will it burn as fast as this LPG gas, or it will burn a little bit slower? A little bit slower. Yes. Okay. So now based on this activity, there are different types of combustion. Okay. So now we will see what are these different types of combustion. Okay. So these different types of combustion are, first is the rapid combustion and second is the spontaneous combustion. So what happens in rapid combustion is when gas burns rapidly and produces heat and light, right? So this was in case of the LPG that we use. And spontaneous combustion is when a material suddenly bursts into flame without the application of any apparent cause. Like if we are not applying anything to that substance and it suddenly catches fire on its own. Okay, so one example I will give you of this condition, that is there is a one element called phosphorus. We keep it at a room temperature and we do nothing, it will still catch fire without doing anything. So that type of combustion will be called as spontaneous combustion. You can see the YouTube video on at the end of the class. So are you clear with the concept of types of combustion? So how many types of combustion are there? Write in the chat box. Okay, there is the rapid combustion first and second is the spontaneous combustion. Okay, so now we will move on ahead. Now comes the curiosity question. Buju has again a question for you. He's very curious. And so are you, because you all are answering it. So yes, let's see the question. What happens when a cracker is ignited? And what happens in explosion then? Okay, so now this is a very exciting question. For this, what you have to do is you have to find the answer on your own, because this will be a very fun activity, and please do it in the supervision of adults, right? So now you have to find the answer on it on your own, and then we will discuss it tomorrow in the class, right? Okay, so now we will move on ahead and see some more facts about combustion. Okay, so now some facts about combustion are: when a cracker is ignited. We will see the answer for this question right now if you're not clear with what I was about to ask. Okay. So when cracker is ignited, a sudden reaction takes place with the evolution of heat, light, and sound, right? And a large amount of gas formed in the reaction is liberated. Such a reaction is called as explosion. So this was the answer to the previous question that we just saw right now. So are you all clear with the response of, are you all clear with the answer of the question? If not, if you have any doubt, please comment in the chat box if you have any doubt, and we will clear it at the end of the class. So now we will move on ahead and see one more question. So forest fire happens due to the heat of sun or due to the spark of lightning from the sky. Under which type of combustion does it come? Rapid combustion, or it comes under the spontaneous combustion? So yes, now you have to answer it on your own. Okay. For this, I will not give the answer. You have to find it on your own, and then you have to write it in the chat box. After the class is over, you can go and find it. Then you have to write the answer in the chat box, right? So let's move forward and coming to the recapitulation part of what we did today. In today's class, we learned about how to control fire and different types of combustion, right? So these are some questions. First, I will speak the question and you will write the answers in the chat box. First question is, explain how to control fire involving wood, oil, petrol, and electrical equipment. Okay, so yes, in case of wood fire, wood, we can use water. In case of oil, petrol, and electrical equipment, what we can use is we will use the fire extinguisher, because water will not extinguish the fire. So now, second is analyze why CO2 fire extinguisher is the best extinguisher. Okay, so you have to give reasons for this question in the chat box. Okay, yes, I can see the right responses. Okay. Yes. So now coming on to the next point, demonstrate how oil fires cannot be stopped by water. We performed an activity, right, where we took a glass and there was, so what happens in this is the water is lighter than oil, so it accumulates in the down part, and the oil, it floats above the water, and it still will burn even after we put water into it, because the oil will accumulate at the top of the water. So this is how oil fires cannot be controlled by water. So define the types of combustion with appropriate examples. The two types of combustion that we discussed, rapid and spontaneous, and examples you have to write in the chat box. Coming to the last point, relate the types of combustion with daily life activities. We just did a question on it. You can write the answers in the chat box. Okay, I will give you 5 seconds to complete it. Then we will see the homework for today's class. Okay, yes, I can see the right responses. Yes, the lightning, the fire caused by the lightning in the forest. Yes, and the fire caused by the increased temperature of the atmosphere. Okay, yes. Yes, very good. So now I think you all are clear with the concept. Now coming to the homework part. These are some of the questions that you have to explain and write the answers in your notebooks. And coming to the activity, make a model of fire extinguisher, place a short candle and a slightly taller candle in a small dish filled with baking soda. Place the dish at the bottom of a large bowl. Light both the candles, then pour vinegar into the dish of baking soda. Take care, do not pour vinegar on the candle. Observe the foaming reaction and what happens to the candle and why. So after performing this activity, you have to write your observation in your notebooks, right? So we will discuss what were your results of this activity and your homework in next class. Okay. So for now, thank you, and we will meet in our next class. Okay.